want to run through some basic troubleshooting that you can use to help you out if your site experiences any issues with the functionality or layout where it shouldn't. So I've set up a fictitious coffee shop website. So coffee house, standard WordPress site. It's using Elementor, which I like to use now. A common reason why this happens is a conflict in plugins. So you might have lots of plugins. So the more plugins you have, the more likely that you're going to have one that causes errors or issues with the site. Right now I've got 28 plugins installed, which I regard as quite a lot of plugins. So it's quite likely that it's going to cause a bug or a crash quite easily. If you find this, I would just deactivate some plugins that are optional, that they wouldn't affect the design or functionality of the website. Some of these you can do without plugins, so 301 redirects. You don't need a plugin for this. Anti-spam, that's good to have, and cookies notice, this can be done without a plugin, but I like having this plugin. So right now, as you can see, the layout's fine. If you are getting any errors or it's crashing, it's good to check the error logs on your server, or if I'm hosting it for you, I can certainly have a look for you and see which plugins might be causing this. But I'd recommend keeping the plugins to a minimum for sure. As you can see, that we've got all the plugins have their own dialog boxes to sign up and register and leave feedback. Maybe good to remove these. So what I've been asked before is, if I disable these plugins, will it break my sites? And often the answer is no. It would just once you reactivate the plugin, it would just pick up from where it left off. It would just re-enable exactly how it was when it was previously activated. So for this website, I'm just gonna disable some of the plugins here and see how it responds. So it's an Elementor website, as I said. So if I deactivate Elementor, it's asking for feedback. I'm just gonna go and deactivate Elementor, and this is a crucial plugin used for the website. So if I refreshed the website now, it would just go haywire. It would just go back. It would just be a basic WordPress website. Same as if I uninstalled all of them. Let's just see what's going to happen now. If I deactivate all of them, oh boy, let's see what happens. Okay, so now as you can see on the left sidebar, it's just how WordPress looks out of the box. It's just got the core pages of WordPress. And if I refresh, it brings it real back to the basics, the bare bones. So this is a really good way just to test the one thing that you want. If all the other plugins are deactivated and yours still doesn't work, then it could be an issue with the theme that's being installed, perhaps. So I've got the Hello theme. If the issue still persists, I'd recommend just installing one of WordPress's fundamental themes, like 2020, activating this. So we've removed all the plugins, we've removed the theme, we refresh. Here's how the site looks. So all the content is still there. It hasn't removed any of the contents, it's still there. So let me switch this back again to the child theme of the Hello theme. and I refresh, it goes back to the Elementor child theme. And if I go back to the plugins, I want to re-enable Elementor again, so I can install 3 of them back at once. So if I go activate and apply, it will activate all 3 of them at once. So this should restore the layout. Let's see if it goes back to how it was. So I refresh, and there you go, it's back to how it was. The site isn't broken at all. And then if you want to install all of the other plugins, you check this box here to enable all of them and click activate and hit apply. Also with plugins, sometimes there are updates, and I recommend that you do keep your plugins up to date, just because some of the updates might be fixing an issue that you're experiencing. So this is often a step I would recommend you do. And with the new update of WordPress, you can enable auto updates. So what a quick way of doing this, if you check this box, and you can enable auto updates for all of the plugins quickly and easily this way, and you know that you're not going to fall behind. But what I would recommend is just using as little plugins as you can, because the more you have, the more likely your website is going to encounter an error. So it's worth going through each one, asking if you really need it. Maybe some plugins you just used the one time and haven't needed, and you forgot to delete it. I would recommend that you do delete it if you're not going to use it again. And sometimes I've seen people who, like, maybe you had the website in maintenance mode when you're building it, and now you don't need it. So I would recommend deactivating this plugin if you no longer need it. Okay, as we can see, we have an error. So let's just refresh, because I think, so yeah, perfect example, we have an error. So this is probably caused down to having too many plugins. So, but it did deactivate. So let's just deactivate this plugin. And let's say we don't need this one, and we don't need this one, we don't need this one, and we don't need this one. So you can delete multiple plugins together at the same time, but you need to deactivate them first. Let's deactivate these plugins. Again, it had an error. If you're still getting errors like this on a frequent basis, you can go on to the server and view the files on the server. So right now we've got a lot of plugins. You can access the plugin by going WP content and plugins, and then the ones you want to deactivate, you just do an underscore underneath them, and then so all the ones that I deem non-essential, I'm just going to put an underscore, and it will deactivate them. So I don't need this one, I don't need this one, I don't need this one, I don't need this one. Honestly, I think Jetpack causes a lot of issues. I would delete that, but it's a huge plugin. If a plugin's really large, sometimes it is better just to delete it from within the WordPress dashboard if you can. Let's just refresh the page. So as we can see, some of these plugins have been removed just by putting an underscore underneath them on the server. I'm going to deactivate Jetpack because honestly I found Jetpack to be quite problematic, and this could have been causing the issue. Let's have a look at the error logs right now. So let's just going to refresh the error logs that are on the server. So I'm going to scroll down, and okay, there weren't any errors to report, which is funny because there was an error, but it's worth looking at the code. Right now I see 200. I want to see one that's like 501. There's 3. This is a 302 error, but that's all okay. So if I delete the plugin Jetpack this way, there we go. It's really quick and easy. If I deleted it from the server this way, as it's such a big plugin, it might take 10 minutes to, but this way, look, it's gone just like this. And if I wanted to delete Mail Poet or deactivate Mail Poet, I just put the underscore underneath it. If I refresh the page, Mail Poet will deactivate. There we go, it's deactivated. And if we want to re-enable it again, just go back into the server, remove the underscore. If you refresh the page, okay, in this instance you would need to hit activate to activate. It doesn't reactivate it when you remove the underscore, but if you add the underscore, it does deactivate it. If you still have queries or issues, you can visit my WordPress site. So I've got supports. I've got a support lounge. And you can visit the page Troubleshoot. You can fill out